There's a great video Harold Bloom has on the Auroras of Autumn by Wallace Stevens, who genuinely was one of the great poets. He died in like 1951, but he's unbelievable. Here we go. So this is Harold Bloom, one of my favorite, actually my favorite literary critic and professor. He wrote 30, 40 books on Shakespeare and poetry and fiction and everything else. Here he is talking about the Auroras of Autumn by Wallace Stevens. And Harold Bloom really identifies with Sir Robert Falt. Who's the Falstaff, the character in Shakespeare, the big fat guy, the big jolly fat guy? Falstaff. Is it Roger or Robert? I forget. Oh, he's the big fat guy. Shakespeare had a big fat character that was hilarious. Oh, Sir John Falstaff. Excuse me. But Harold Bloom was staggering, 6'6", huge guy. A lot of rape accusations, actually, not to tarnish his legacy. You know, he died 4 years back. He hated woke. He taught a lot of great authors came through his program. I'm trying to think who came through. What's that bitch's name who wrote Beloved? Toni, I haven't read her. Toni Morrison, yeah. Taught a bunch of, he had like 35,000 students come through, but apparently, and you know that lady Naomi, who's that crazy bitch who talks about chemtrails on Twitter? She wrote books about pussies. She claims he tried to rape her or something, but he denied it all. He was a brilliant Jew. He had an eidetic memory. He could memorize books line for line. Incredible. He was the GOAT. But here is him. So you get an idea of his personality. Here's him talking about The Auroras of Autumn by Wallace Stevens. Really good.
Himself, I believe it is his only major poem in which he allows himself to... He enters as himself. I believe it is his only major poem in which he allows himself to enter in his proper person as a kind of dramatic figure. The great beach scene in the early cantos or sections of the Auroras of Autumn. He stares at the extraordinary display of the Northern Lights.
I wish I could make it louder.
The vitality, the color, the power of the Aurora Borealis is a terrible reproach to his own waning vitality, not just as an imagination, but as a potent male or aging human being, or to his own terrible sense of, indeed, turning blankly on the sand, of being a visible or audible blank, nothing more and nothing less. And he gathers himself together. He tries to make the supreme effort of his poetry to reduce what he confronts to what he calls a first idea or new point of origin, and then to reimagine that idea and take the reduction and the reimagination together and say, look, this is my poem.
When he starts reciting it,
he cries out about the auroras, these glorious northern lights. He cries out, this is nothing, and the this is means the northern lights. This is nothing until in a single man contained. Nothing until this named thing, the auroras, nameless is and is destroyed. And suddenly he becomes wholly self-referential, and he says of himself, he opens the door of his house on flames. That is to say, you've made your supreme effort, you fling open the door of your spirit, of your whole being, of everything you've taught yourself to write and be. You fling it open, and at just that moment, the northern lights say, all right, if you wish to defy us, now you get our full flare. And flames suddenly light up. The whole sky is absolutely aflame.
Isn't he great?
The scholar of one candle sees an arctic effulgence flare upon the frame of everything he is, and he feels afraid. That is to say, you make the supreme effort of your own imagination, and all the intensity and power and discipline, genius of your imagination only makes you more fearful rather than less fearful.
I love it. By the way, I love him on Lube. Shit. Him smacking kicks so much ass. Let me take the processing off this. No, I don't need that. Him smacking kicks so much ass. Hold on. He wrote The Art of Influence, which is his big book where he basically explains every great writer misinterprets the writers that came before him that he is trying to copy, but he creates his own voice through misinterpreting their voice, essentially. If that makes sense. Can I just find the short where he's talking about why to read? I want to find the damn short here. They're not recommending damn shorts to me. Damn. This kind of sucks. Kind of sucks when YouTube's gay. Oh, those words? Yeah, here's 3 shorts. Here's 3 shorts. Here we go.
Harold Bloom is one of the greatest and most prolific American literary
TV needs to go back to 2 rapists interviewing each other. It needs to go back to whatever. It just needs 2 stinky people who are just corner their interns. That turns out that was the best kind of TV broadcasting and everything else.
Emerson rightly called self-trust.
Here we go.
Unless you read.
Here, this is exactly what I was looking for. I found the timestamp. Charlie Rose asks him why it's important to read. Here we go.
Here I am on a subject that I have vowed to get off.
Okay. He's ranting against woke. He's been ranting against woke culture since like 1960 because it started in academia first.
So tell me why it was important to write this book.
I wanted to
reach an audience beyond those that you could reach in a classroom, obviously.
Yes, I also wanted to.
He rolls. Look at his look.
Reach some of the readers that I'd
like
reached before in a book on the Western Canon and a book on Shakespeare and other books. But I wanted to do it without polemic as much as possible, even though I seem to be trapped to some degree in having by now a somewhat polemical nature, though I'm not happy about that.
This was right before his major heart attack he had, and then he lost a bunch of weight and grew even thinner, but he lived another 30 years.
I would like to be
Again,
different.
massive, like a 350-pound, like 6'6" guy.
Maybe a little hard at 70 to become different.
Jerry Float Coke.
I think that unless you read deeply and in your own interest, unless you explore what is most profound in what has come before you, then you never will get down to the recesses of your own self. You'll never learn what Ralph Waldo Emerson rightly called self-trust and self-reliance. And most deeply, perhaps, you never will heal the self. I think that in a culture which has all of the peculiar difficulties and complexities of the one currently developing around us, there is nothing more profoundly healing than the act of solitary reading, provided that what is being read is indeed permanent, deep, lasting work that calls for all of your faculties in response, work that calls you out of your own deep, as it were, work that transforms you, work, that is to say, Shakespeare, Dante, Dickens, Jane Austen. I mean, we know who these authors are. We neglect them, I think, at our own potential debasement.
I love that he developed this act. He's a Jew from the Bronx who first spoke Yiddish and then taught himself English at 3, so he only read it, and it has all these different he has all these odd pronunciations of words and everything, even though he's incredibly well-read. It's almost like it's like a weird transatlantic. It's very like pretentious, but it's not because it's so sincere. he's a big, fat, stinky guy who's horrible with women, you know. He would devour books. He was a compulsive reader. He probably read more than anybody who ever lived. And when he was younger, he was a speed reader. He claims he could read hundreds and hundreds of pages an hour. Where he would just sit there and just turn the pages like this. That kind of a weird freak, rare sort of savant skill. This is my favorite Jewish man to ever live. Besides Jesus Christ. This guy right here. No one better than, I mean, look at that squint. He sucks ass. He's unbelievable. Harold Bloom, and I don't know if you guys have people like this, but I have people that I consider comforting YouTube figures. And what I mean by that is like Harold Bloom, he has a book, How to Take Up Arms Against a Sea of Troubles. And he talks about how reading Shakespeare and all these things help sort of guide you and comfort you in life, like why it's so important and how to read them. And I'll go back to these Charlie Rose interviews with Harold Bloom. I'll listen to his Shakespeare lectures over and over. He has lectures on the great tragedies of Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, Othello, Macbeth, Hamlet, which was his favorite. And I'll watch these, especially I think one of my favorite things to do is to get in my gay Tesla and get fast food of some kind, usually In-N-Out, and then park it and just sit and then put on a Harold Bloom thing on the big stupid iPad there and listen to him be all stinky and talk about Hamlet while I have a burger. Just so comforting. I could do it every night. So comforting to me. When I'm in a place that everybody falls into, where you're just a little bit, floating a little bit. Everybody's got a guy like that. Mine's Harold Bloom. I love him. Rest in peace. Rest in power, my friend. Rest in power. One of the great Jews of the world. Love him. Absolutely love him.